Hello everyone. So in this
We are going to learn about the optional class of introduced in the Java 8. So basically it is of type T, that means we can pass any custom classes to this. And majorly this reason of this introduction is to deal with the runtime null pointer exception that we get. Okay, so basically what it does is let's first check in how many ways we can create the optional object. Okay, so basically we can say that there are three ways to create optional t object, and those are like using of method which takes the argument of t. Then we have using empty which doesn't take any argument, and then we have using of nullable which also takes the argument t. So now let's see. First, let us understand the like in which cases we have to use all the three. So first one is of t. Here t cannot be null. So like even though if you pass the null values for creating an optional object using this method, you won't get any compile time exception. Compile time, but you will get a runtime exception. Okay, here basically it is a creates optional object with empty. That means it is going to be null one, and here it can or cannot be null. Okay, so let's start now. Let's see how we are going to do this. So here we are creating one optional string. Let's say first is using of method is equal to new. Okay, directly we can use optional dot of. Here I am passing a value, let's say test of, and then there is a method. Since it is used to avoid the null pointer exception, always we are going to check whether we have the data in optional object or not using is present method. So what we are going to do, if using dot of is present, that means there is a data inside the optional object. We are going to print it, and it is going to return true if optional has object, non null object, else non-null object, else it is going to false. So in our case we have a test of, and to get the data we are going to use get method to get the object inside optional. Basically it is a container where we are going to store the values. So now we, if it is present, what we are going to say is using of dot get. Okay, now let's run this. Here you can say optional data is a test of. Now, let's say what happens if I directly print it. So in our case, we have the data. In our case, we already have the data. That's why we won't get any exception, runtime exception. But if I simply print using of without using the get, what I will get is its output is going to be optional and then the value. The value is so this is what we are going to get as the output for this optional data is you can see optional test of and then here we are getting test of as it has been fetched using the get object. Now, so this there are three ways. So first one, it says that t cannot be null. So let's try by passing the null value. This condition is not required for this case. Here, let's say null. Okay. In this case, I should get a runtime exception. While creating, it won't give any exception. See here, you are getting the null pointer exception because it cannot be null. This happens because if you see the of method, which is creating an optional, it says requires non-null value. So that means whatever the value you are passing, that should be non-null. Then only it is going to create an object using the null. So this is the first way, but there might be few cases where you want the empty optional objects like no data inside that, right? So here I am writing as earlier test of, then creating a new object using empty. So here what will happen is it doesn't take any parameter, it creates a null. So I'll simply write this out, object in container, object present in container question mark. Then I will write simply using empty dot is present. So as we have created an empty, so there is no data present in that. So that's why it should return as data object present in container is it should be false. So you can see this object present inside the container is false. Now if I wanted to print the value, say using empty, I'm printing. So it will be optional of empty. You can see optional empty is present. What happens if we try to get the value? If I try to get the value, since it is empty, let's see what happens now. In this case, you will get the null pointer, sorry, no value present because we don't have any values inside this optional. And to avoid this exception, we always go for first using present. So first we check whether the data value is present inside the container or not. If it is present, then we use get method. Now let's go for the nullable, which can be or which cannot be null of nullable. Let's first try with null. and here we write state of this, we write is present, and but obviously since data is not present, this is going to give error, so that's why I'm removing that. Let's say now if you see, the object is getting created, because here if you say if it is null, then it is returning you empty, and if it is not null, then it is returning the off value. So basically you can say off nullable is the combination of off and empty methods of optional. So yeah, these and if I pass the value of nullable, dot get data. Now this will be true of nullable and of nullable, since we have created an object using this one.